What's up? It's your boy Carcino. As you know, because you clicked on the video to watch, thank you, because you could be watching a million other videos right now, but you chose to watch this, and I appreciate it. So, to pay you the greatest compliment in the world, and you should share this video if you have social media pages with the rest of the world, I also want to share some things about the history of this great thing we call hip hop. The music, the culture. People don't know that many things have come and died and moved on. Disco, you know, punk, all of these forms of rock, they had to go. A lot of these things had to go. And you say to yourself, well, why? Why did they have to go? Well, it was quite simple. When you're doing the wrong thing, or it comes off more of a fad than something that's sustainable, and you don't really have a face for it, things could die on the vine. And if you want to support the page, and I recommend everybody hit up the Cash App. The name is Carcino on the Cash App. That's Karceno, and you will find your bro. Or you could donate money to the Streamlab in the link of the description box. And definitely check out the Patreon, the Carcino for Life Patreon. We have VIP access on there where you'll see some of your favorite people naked. That's all it is now. That's all people want to talk about is the naked people. Man, thank you for that. Like I gave them some type of relief. Yo, I saw such and such naked. I always wanted to see her naked, man. Thank you for that. I'm like, okay. Oh man. Plus there's like other stories there that we can go in detail with. We find out some things about R. Kelly's situation that happened with the beatdown in prison. You know, Prodigy's death, Soldier Slim's murder. You start finding out keys to all of these things in the Patreon. Now, let's get back on course. Now, in the days of hip hop, when hip hop was a John Doe business and starting out, people didn't even know if it was something they can make money off of. So when the record companies got it, it was just like something that could keep their substandard labels going and bring in a little money on the side, and that was that. It was never seen as something that could be up there with the rock and roll bands, R&B music, you know, people that looked at it and they looked at hip hop as this street, trash music, just screaming over already established music, and then the artists aren't getting paid for making the music. They have no musical talent. They have no musicianship. I don't like it. It's terrible. So, so hip hop always had this standard of it just wasn't good enough. It's something only for kids in the ghetto. All of these stigmas that they made and these stereotypes about a music that they didn't understand because it was out of their age bracket. And these are the people who are trying to talk about it. It's like 40-year-old people trying to tell you about A Wrinkle in Time. It's not for you. It's like you're not gonna. You try to do a movie review for My Little Pony. It's like, dude, it wasn't designed for a 47-year-old man to be doing My Little Pony reviews out there. You 64 and you talking about the ponies didn't show enough emotion. Okay, so you have people that didn't really love the music in here dictating the terms. So even though you had establishing music companies that were making some buzz, making some headway, something was starting to happen in the industry that made it look like a fad. You had like the Fat Boys, you know, that was more of a novelty type of music where the Fat Boys would rap over already established songs like Wipe Out, Work It Out, Wipe Out. So they started to do that trend with the Fat Boys and all these other, but this was not something they were taking seriously. It's like, well, we can connect and make what we call synergy. That's what they call it, where they basically are working with another company to try to resell old music, right? And put rap on it and sell some old records that were hits back in the day. So people can reestablish those artists and keep selling old records. But before all that happened, the song that saved hip hop was very key because it almost never happened. Run DMC came out with the King of Rock album. And the King of Rock album was great. It did good. Had so many hit songs and set the standard for what, Run DMC was about, to set themselves apart from the other rap records who was using mostly, disco and stuff that mom was using in the house. They were doing more rock. They weren't going to be just, the cool loop on cool, like Earth, Wind, and Fire samples, James Brown samples. They were going to be in rock. And Russ made that, him and Rick Rubin made that a fact that we got to put Run DMC. They ain't going to be the kings of rap. They're going to be the kings of rock. So the king of rock music, they were like, this is insulting. They don't even play an instrument. So people were really upset in the rock world that Run DMC were called the kings of rock. Now, with that being said, that Run DMC were the kings of rock, they were coming out with a new song that they were going to do called Walk This Way. And they wanted to get the sample clearance. And Aerosmith did not want to clear the sample for Walk This Way. Now, the studio that they worked with was like, look, we're going to clear this sample of Walk This Way and all this. So, Aerosmith was against it. Their managers and everybody around knew that this was a very lucrative opportunity. A very lucrative opportunity. Even though there were rap albums that were selling 300,000 units, Aerosmith was like a relic back in 1987. They were a complete relic. All their greatest hits were behind them. All their new music was tanking. Their fan base was basically like, they're done. So they needed this. Steve Tyler was really an a-hole through the whole process, didn't want nothing to do with it. And his managers told him, you need this. We've lost a ton of money on your last two projects that turned out to be doo-doo. So you're going to work with these guys and we're going to do this and we're going to make this money and we're going to transcend the song. So when they did Walk This Way, the old classic song that they did, and they started doing the song together, and they did it during the video rehearsal and everything else. They didn't want to do the video and be associated with the record. Then the record became a smash hit. Walk This Way was back #1 on the charts. #1 on the charts. Walk This Way was almost, I think it did better than the original single release that Aerosmith released. Walk This Way with Run DMC was getting played way more than the original Walk This Way that they did when it came out. Walk This Way was #1 for I can't even tell you how many weeks. This opened the eyes to the other record companies who had turned their nose to rap and hip hop and everything else when all these doors were closing up on a lot of rap and saying, this is just too juvenile, we don't really need it. Nah, thanks for your one album, we're done. So hip hop was going through a changing period at that time. They were looked at as a fad. They weren't going to be let in. People were comparing it to disco. They were killing it in all the magazines, writing negative about it. Walk This Way opened up the doors. Because of Walk This Way, you got show people like MTV saying, we believe in this music. We can put money behind this music. We can invest in it. We can be the first ones to jump ahead of this because we see the curve. Other record companies is like, hey, we can get our artists to do a Walk This Way. Let's get the Bee Gees in here, the Beach Boys, and have them work with a rapper. This is going to be great. We can sell our old songs again. Look at what Walk This Way is doing. That brought Aerosmith back out of the grave. Aerosmith was doing commercials. Steve Tyler was back hot again. He was even in the movie Wayne's World. They did the Wayne's World movie because of the fame of Walk This Way. The song that saved hip hop. And not only was it the song that saved hip hop, it is the song that started a lot of careers. Record companies opened up the pocketbooks and signed all these new artists and got them deals based off of Walk This Way. And even for Raising Hell, Run DMC's album, which is one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. Now, when Raising Hell came out, Run DMC first lead single was Tricky. Tricky. Tricky was the lead single off the album, and it did great in the urban market. Did not really do anything in any other market except for the urban market when it was released. Once Walk This Way came out, other people in the upper echelon Caucasian community loved Run DMC. Did not realize Run DMC had all of these other songs, and they went back to listen. They bought the Raising Hell album, and they loved it. They went back and played Tricky, and Tricky, which was the lead single, and they had a music video, and they went like, oh, this is Run DMC Tricky. That is like one of the most popular Caucasian songs of all time in their mix, and they playlists and everything else. To this day, since 1987, Tricky is played, has over millions of spins. Millions. Since in the digital era, right now, Tricky has been in movies. It has been in every platform you know. It has been in commercials. Tricky is a hit based off of Walk This Way. Oh, I know, because Run DMC, they used to perform Son of Byford. you know, and then they went on Saturday Night Live and did it. Son of Byford, brother of Al. Betty's my mama and runs my pal. It's McDaniels, not McDonald's. The rhymes are Daryl's and the burgers are Ronald. I run down my family tree. My mother, my brother, my father, and D. Yeah, so they used to do Son of Byford mixed with Hit It Run. Hit It Run was the B-side record to Tricky. Hit It Run Rock. I was born. So Hit It Run was the song, man. And it was funny because it was like a diss record. Hit It Run is hilarious because that was like a diss record to actual beatboxing. Really. It was, because beatboxing at that time to them was just like the human beatbox was the Fat Boys. You know, Hit It Run was crazy because Run beatboxing was so terrible that when you hear Run beatboxing, it was terrible. And it's like it was like a joke because D is like dead serious why he's rhyming. And then he's like, hit it, Run, rock. And then Run is coming with this terrible beatbox. I was like, man, this is a diss. Because Run-DMC don't do beatboxing at all. Like, there's no beatbox Run-DMC song. So for them to do that, man, that was crucial, man. That was brutal. So anyway, they were supposed to be on the Tougher and Leather album. They were supposed to be on the Tougher and Leather album. Can you believe that? Aerosmith and Run-DMC was supposed to work on a song together. And the song that they ended up, I think they were supposed to be on Mary Mary. If I'm not mistaken. It could have been another song. But I think it was Mary Mary. Because people was like, man, they want another collaboration with, Run-DMC and Aerosmith. So they wanted to try to find another Aerosmith song that they could use and make a collaboration with. But Run-DMC had different ideas. And they were like, let's create something new with Aerosmith. Let's not go, because we don't want to get caught in that fad. Everybody's doing it. See, this is back when, the 80s, when it wasn't cool. You see what I'm saying? Was not cool to do what everybody else was doing. People hated that. If somebody else was copying it and it became a fad, you didn't want to do it no more. Because everybody's doing it. So now I got to do something else because now everybody else is doing that. Even though you're the one that might have started it, you're like, I don't want to follow that. So I'm out. That's how it was back then. So it was creativity or nothing. So Run-DMC is like, I'm not finna go do another old Aerosmith song. Plus Run at that time was drugged out of his mind. So, he wasn't normal during that whole process. Because, Success and Fame and Rolling Stone magazine, they everywhere. They got all of the stuff going on, so it's dope girls, everything. He just spiraling. So he was very animated about not working, doing that with Aerosmith. So Steve Tyler, man, he just became a real prick about it. Because Run-DMC was getting more fame than Aerosmith, he thought. And so he felt Aerosmith should be compensated a little bit too much. So now you're dealing with Russ. Yo, man, tell Steve, man, I wanted to work with him, man, but now he acting all, I don't want to have nothing to do with that. Tell him I don't want nothing to do with that. That's all right. We good. We good. Man, so Russ was like, F them. We're going to do it on our own. He was like, that's what we told you from the beginning, man. Man, Russ, look, it's Run DMC, man. They ain't coming here to see Aerosmith. They coming to see Run DMC. When we go and do the show sold out, man, they coming to see Run DMC. They ain't coming to see Aerosmith, man. Our fans are coming to see Run DMC. So when they did the song, it was like they intro. And they just made a title song. Because everybody used to make one title song. So they made a song that was like the intro they would come out to when they do their shows. They call us Run D Run D Run D Run D MC Run D Run D Run D Run D MC. So that was like an intro they used to do because they start when you went to see Run DMC, you saw a show. They were performers. You know what I'm saying? You ain't had one guy standing still just rocking. They actually interacted with the crowd. They actually did things on stage with each other. You know what I'm saying? So they were interactive. They were a performer. They knew how to perform and move a crowd. That was the difference. With Run DMC and everybody else in the game at the time, they knew how to perform. So when they get on stage, Run's just like the animated guy. D's the serious rhymer, Jay gets the crowd hyped the way he cut. So when this was all done and the whole process was together, they went into the stratosphere. But it opened the doors and it saved hip hop. Now all these outlets is out. This allowed LL Cool J to come right out and sell 2 million records and take it to another level. Because they had never had love songs to come around and do what it did. That didn't exist. So, these opportunities would have been on a minor scale. I'm not saying that the album would have never been made. It would have never been made and distributed on such a popular level. They would have never been mentioning LL Cool J name with Michael Jackson's name. Michael Jackson's Bad album mixed with LL Cool J's Bad album. Those things, those comparisons wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Run DMC coming out with Walk This Way and Walk This Way doing what it did. It opened the door, so now you could compare an LL Cool J to a Michael Jackson and put a R&B rap art. It was so powerful. Run DMC was gonna do a record with Michael Jackson for Michael's album Bad. Bad was gonna be the record that he was doing with Michael Jackson. And we already did that story. So that tells you the power of Walk This Way. That Michael Jackson's lead song after his Thriller album for his new album Bad was going to be a rap record with Run DMC, an anti-drug record with Run DMC. So it is the song that saved hip hop. Ice-T career, everybody career that was, where it was, a lot of doors opened up because of that. A lot of faces were seen on television now because of that. Because of that song, a lot of doors open up in hip hop forever. So now you know a part of history. It's your boy Carcino, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the page. God bless you guys. Like I said, again, if you want to donate and support the page, Carcino is my name on my Cash App. Everybody in the chat that on the YouTube premiere, you guys seeing it first before everybody else. So thank you and kudos for you guys coming by. And like I said, my Patreon's Carcino for Life. The link is in the description box. Get to check out things that you didn't know about, some secret stuff that's been going on you really didn't know nothing about. You'll find it there in the Patreon. I'm out.